Hi, my name is Arwa Gunja. I'm part of the AP IPPO class here in East Brunswick High School, which participates in the annual We the People competition.
Well, when we found out that we made top 10, we were all jumping around and screaming because we knew that we finally had the chance to become, one of the best teams in the nation.
It was an incredibly nerve-wracking experience, and the boys were really excited to hear who had made the top 10. They were jumping around Murphy, they were jumping around Broadman, they were jumping up and down screaming New Jersey.
We came in third place in the nation, which I was ecstatic with. I thought it was incredible.
The competition is basically formatted where they set up 6 units. Each unit covers a different topic, stressing the importance of the Constitution. Unit 1 focuses mainly on philosophy. Units 2, 3, 4, and 5 solely on the Constitution. And Unit 6 applies those concepts to modern-day America and politics.
In order to qualify for the national competition, we had to first win the state competition, which we did, allowing us to qualify for the nationals. And at the actual competition, each team starts off with 10 minutes of actual competing time. The first 4 minutes are a prepared statement made by each of the units, whereas the last 6 minutes are based off of spontaneous questions that are thought of by the panel of 3 judges. At the end of each competition, the judges score you based on a number of aspects: the follow-ups, your fluency in responses, teamwork, things like that. And after the first 2 days, these results are tabulated, and the 10 teams with the highest score move on to the last day on Capitol Hill.
It was very exciting going to Trenton. It's always a highlight of the year to watch these students compete. It's more exciting even when they win. And we took the state, which sent us to Washington, D.C. 50 states in a very, very rigorous competition. The competitions were held Saturday and Sunday to bring it down to the 10 finalists who would then compete on Monday.
Well, at the competition, 48 states actually competed, and at the ceremony, all of those states were there, plus parents and our advisors. There were definitely thousands of people in this mall, all waiting for the announcement as to who were the top 10 teams and who would compete tomorrow.
We finished the second day of the competition, and we go back to our hotel, we changed, and then we went to the mall where they were going to announce who made the top 10. And they had completely closed the mall, and we had a dance down at the food court.
And we waited for them to announce who the top 10 teams were. And it was really nerve-wracking because you wanted to hear your name so badly, but you were afraid they wouldn't call it. We're New Jersey, and there's a lot of states that start with the word new, so we kept on being afraid that they would call New York instead of New Jersey.
As most of you know, that 2 days' worth of scores are total, and that determines which 10 teams go on tomorrow in the finals.
When it came to be 9 o'clock and we were to find out who was announced, we stood there around the stage, all holding hands, and the second team that was announced, the second poster they held up was New Jersey.
The team from New Jersey!
And we found out that we made the top 10, and we realized that everything that we had worked for was coming to be realized, and we were going to be competing on Monday, so we were all really psyched about that.
As the teacher, my role has a number of aspects. Initially, I would say I'm there to go over the basic material that the students need to learn. Beyond that, as we begin to process the questions themselves, I'm there to serve both as a resource and, I guess the way to call it, as a taskmaster. I'm there to make sure that the students stay on focus and prepare the responses to the questions.
Actually, it starts down the 8th grade, where students get a good foundation of the Constitution, specifically with the Bill of Rights, which we spend about 6 weeks talking about the different amendments that would pertain to student rights, particularly in the junior high and high school. So we look at those rights and see how they're quite different and how they're protected under the Constitution. Then in the high school, we have 2 programs called IPPO, Institute for Political and Legal Education. IPPO 1 gives them a basic foundation of the concepts starting from early constitutional law, going back as far as John Locke and some of the early philosophers of constitutional law, and then we look at some of the byproducts of that in our own Constitution.
In class, we spend some time both learning the material, that is the Constitution, its underpinnings, the creation of the Constitution itself, all the way through the aspects of the Bill of Rights. At that point, in class, we would spend time having the students present as they would at the competition itself, a 4-minute presentation with 6 minutes of follow-up questions.
This year it was an extremely, very personal group of students, and I found this group an extremely, very, very cooperative group of kids to work with.
Testifying on Capitol Hill was mind-boggling, it was breathtaking, and it was overwhelming because the judges were sitting so high in the room, and we're sitting all the way down here, so they're really imposing on us.
Testifying on Capitol Hill was a bit different than testifying on day 1 and 2 in the hotel conference rooms. In the conference rooms, judges and we were on the same floor, but in Capitol Hill, the judges actually sat up higher, and basically we were responding, looking up to them, just like a Capitol Hill hearing. This did create a bit of a more imposing feeling in the room because the distance between us and the judges was greater, and because there was that increased aura of awe and respect that comes with the room and having the judges looking down upon us.
Well, you go as the advisor having, I guess, let out that long sigh of relief that you've done what you can to prepare the students for the competition. On the other hand, you now begin to worry because there's nothing you can do. As a teacher, you must sit there and watch and listen, and as has been noted previously to others, to beam them responses if you can.
After our competition, we went to the hotel and we all kind of had this nice banquet. We sat down and ate dinner, and they had a lot of speeches. But we were all waiting for the final moments when they would announce who the 10 through 4 teams were and then who the top 3 teams were.
So we sat around our 3 tables, one big chain of hands, and we waited. And there was also New York in the final 10. So New York was placed 10 through 4. So when we heard the new in New York, we were all really afraid it was us. And it was a great sigh of relief when we finally found out that it was New York and not New Jersey.
So we were all really nervous, and we were hoping that we actually wouldn't hear your name when they called the teams, because if you hear your name, you know you're not number 1, 2, or 3. And we survived, I guess, the first 7 teams that were called.
And then once they had announced the last number 4, the last team, we realized that we were in the top 3, which was one of our objectives. So we all got really excited, and then around like 2 minutes later we found out that we were number 3, which was a little bit bittersweet because we had all wanted 1, but it was still a really great accomplishment when you realize that to be one of the top 3 teams in the nation and the number 1 public school is an amazing feat.
The experience taught us a lot. It not only was a very rewarding and very self-fulfilling process, but it also educated us greatly on civics in America and on the importance of teamwork.
I learned a lot more about the Constitution than I ever imagined I would have. I also learned how to work with people and in some ways to swallow my pride, because like anyone else, I'm very fiercely protective of my work, and so I would hand in work to my group to take a look at, and at times it would just be completely X'd out and I'd have to start again. And you realize that you have to work your team, you have to do your part, and just be the best you can. Don't take things like it personally, because everyone's striving to be the best they can possibly be.
They learn so much. They learn beyond the basic material about our Constitution and our system of government and their role within it, both as students and then later as adults. They learn so many wonderful skills, from research to presentation skills. I think most interestingly, they learn how to work together as a group. Many of these students don't perform on teams here at our school. For them, it's always been about their individual actions. But here, it must be the group that comes forward. If the group doesn't do well, their individual presentation won't matter as much. And I think there's a wonderful skill set that a lot of our students learn about working together and with others, that it goes on beyond, I should say, even the intellectual.
This program is something that I would definitely recommend to other high school students. It teaches you a great deal about civics, about the Constitution, and forces you to practice your public speaking skills, practice the aspects of teamwork, and to involve yourselves within the political community and teach others about civics.
You learn a lot about government, you learn a lot about the Constitution. More importantly, you learn about yourself. You learn about your peers, and you learn, I've made numerous friends from my group and from my unit and from everything about this competition. It's been a very, very rewarding experience for me.